everyone for being here. Thank you to my friends and everyone that is here. Also a special thanks to my dad that is here visiting.
Thank you.
So, today, when I was invited to this talk, I was thinking about, okay, it's been almost 4 years since we started in the startup world. So, of course, in a startup or when you are starting a company, you are always facing different challenges, and always you are competing against the biggest ones, right? I mean, this is like a daily basis. So I was thinking about what have we done well, what could we have done better. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story and what have worked, what hadn't worked, and also I will be very happy for you to share your experiences, so to do this like more dynamic. For example, I mean, yes, I'm, let's say, the main speaker, but I would love to make it like a conversation so we can share more with everyone. As Laura mentioned, I just started a company that just added a little bit of two interesting pictures. This is back in 2020 or 2021, back in Mexico. He is Juan Sebastian, my co-founder. One fun fact, we had met online actually, so this is one of the biggest challenges when you start a company, right? Because, for example, when you want to compete against Google, Microsoft, whatever field you are, the talent is one of the best things you can invest in your time, right? So just as a fun fact, there is a platform where you can find a co-founder. It's just like Tinder or like a platform like that from Y Combinator. So I spent around 6 months looking for a co-founder. He spent also like 6 months looking for a co-founder. So I was the commercial part, the business development, and he was the engineer. We started a company. The first one actually it failed. One of the first things I would like to share why it failed. Because we hadn't found a channel for the distribution. So this is one of the first things that I will take in account. If you already have an idea, you may already have a product that people love, but how are you going to sell? So I would say like the go-to-market strategy will be one of the best and most important thing you should focus on. Because, for example, if you already have all of these other two, but you don't know how and where you're going to sell it, for example, you will fail. Even though it's a great product, even though you have some customers, but if you have a scalable channel of growth or clear go-to-market strategy, it happened to us. But we continued actually, and this is where actually we co-founded together another company on AI. This company started as a chatbot who transcribed basically all the audio to text from the video calls, from the phone calls. So we started testing with all the video calls that started founder friends of us had, and we started matching with different insights basically like a web scrapping of what they were saying. For example, if they were in the industry of health or the industry of finance, okay, what your employees or salespeople are saying is matching what is in the web, right? So we were matching all of this information, and we were giving insights about if they are closing. We were connected to a CRM, and we were doing all of these automations and giving them insight about, okay, you are closing deals in an average of 30 days, but in your industry, that people is closing deals in, I don't know, like 15 days. So you need to stay focused on this or this other person, right? So then later, continue on working, and we met the founders of Wekall in San Francisco, Felipe and Fabiani. We met them, and Wekall is a company based in Colombia and here in Florida, in Orlando. They basically are providing telephone in the cloud. So we partnered with them, and all our main customers customers and their main customers actually started using our AI product. So here, this is the first part of the story, okay? So why I want to stop a little bit here, because one of the things that I will say that is more important that helped us to get acquired, because at the end, I'm telling you like the story and some facts. That what is really important where you can leverage from being a startup and being smaller. The first one is to focus on a niche. This is really important. When we have first started with Sirenna AI, we were transcribing and analyzing any type of audio, any type of calls. So at the beginning it was like, yeah, anyone can buy from us, anyone can be our customers. Yes and no, because if you are selling to everyone, we say in Spanish, if you are selling to everyone, you are like selling to nobody, right? So it happened to us. So at the beginning we were like, yeah, like everyone makes calls, everyone makes phone calls, video calls, yes, but at the end of the day, we weren't able to find a very deep niche where we could provide the most of the value. Until actually we have met Wekall, which they were our main customers because they were already providing phone calls. So they started as a customer, then we partnered with them because they were already providing around 8 million of phone calls in Colombia. For example, Wekall has customers in the government, in hospitals, in like other banks, for example, or financial institutions. So this is very important. That first one that I will say that very big companies are providing services or products to everyone. So this is the first thing that I will focus on if you want to start a business. How many of you have a business here or would like to have one? How many of you already have a business? Okay, a lot of entrepreneurs and who would like to start a business. Okay, cool. Do you want to share a little bit about it?
Yeah, right now I work in the field and also work like coaching and Apple. It's you can see to grow. It's still the it's a status about merge the two together.
Okay, that's relative. But you want to start a business in coaching or?
Implement both the personal aspect of growing as well as the basic facts by that growth. This is a happy thing experience. Help structure this up that grow. I'd say I do first.
Okay, that's very cool because actually we have failed to focus. So right now you already know who is your customers. This is something that we didn't take the time to think. So one thing that I learned is like 1 hour to think can save you like a month of just work, like empty work. So this is one of the things. And the second one is the speed to market, which means you can move fast. And this is something that we were able to make, like let's say partially. Why? I really want to share like an honest experience here because yes, like you can see in like the previous picture, we were Forbes and that's so cool and you're in the media, but at the end of the day it's hard. At the end of the day we fail a lot of times. At the end of the day, I mean it's like really painful, but I don't know, sometimes you enjoy it, I mean, but yes it is. And the speed to market is something, yes?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question about the Wekall situation. Were they a partner of yours or a customer?
Actually both. At the beginning they were just a customer because they had begun, let's say, buying some minutes of they were transcribing, but they have seen a value in what we're doing, so we have made a partnership for more like we have received more volume, let's call it like that, of minutes of their calls, and we were transcribing like millions of words, thousands of millions, and looking for all of these insights for their financial institutions, for healthcare, government.
Did that partnership limit your strategy growing forward? Because, were you serving their needs versus maybe building out to a larger customer base?
Totally, yes, because we were really small. Actually, we were 3 people. So yes and no, because there's always like an empty glass. I'm not sure how do you say it in English, but like an empty glass or the
Option.
exactly. Why? Because yes, it was we were serving them, but at the end of the day, and it can lead into this other 2 actually that we are really proud to share is that as we were 3 people, we could save a lot of money and instead of hiring a lot of people. One thing that we have done really well is that we had the most AI tools that you can imagine. You name it. We were using all the AI tools for HR, for of course transcribing our own software. For example, accounting. Also for the administration because we were only 2 co-founders and other engineer. For selling, for example. So actually, because it is more cost effective, because if you have a tool and you see that it doesn't serve you, or you are scaling, or you are growing faster, it is easy to just cast a subscription, right? Instead of, for example, you already hire someone, for example, you want to try a tool, there's always a free trial, 7 days. In 7 days, you already know if it will help you or not, for example. For a person, you cannot hire someone in 7 days. It is a longer time. I don't say like don't hire people, just use AI. But some of the processes and this I truly stand for can be an AI tool, really. And so, for example, if you have 30 people, you can maybe have 20 and use a tool. And while you are scaling, you use another tool. And if you need some other people, okay, then of course you get hired. But it is something that is a buzzword still right now, AI, but this is why it is a buzzword, because there are a lot of value on what you can do with it. And you can just Google it, for example, what are the tools for doing this or doing that? And you have 10 options at least. You can ask ChatGPT, like always, of course. And these actually, these help us to focus on the strategy of and answering your question, because we have learned that partnerships are so powerful because we didn't really know. Let's say, okay, this is that step. So where are we going to grow? Because we didn't have like a niche focus. This is something that we have failed. But we have seen a lot of value on phone calls. Why? Also because we were in Latin America. Latin America, all of the people, most of us are doing phone calls. It was around February last year, actually, when we have seen it, like Microsoft Copilot announcing that sees that. So we see, okay, what we are building is soon to become like a whole, like a feature is going to be free. What are we going to do? So this is something that this is why I want to be really honest, because we have seen this, like our whole startup is a feature of Microsoft. That they are going to launch it very soon, and it's going to be free. What are we going to do, right? So, but we were already partnering with them. So actually, it helped us. This is why I am telling you that you can see the glass like half empty or half full, because we say, okay, then we need to make a stronger partnership with them, because we already see value in them. So how can we make it stronger, right? So we started talking about, okay, why if we create a product within the 2 companies? And at the beginning they were like, oh, what do you have in mind? You know, like, what do you... So it was a surprise for them. But of course, we were seeing in the future, okay, if we don't do something different, there's a big risk that we could disappear, right? Because Aircraft was doing it for free. Right now, Zoom has it. I don't know, like, for example, HubSpot, we were in Salesforce because we were automating the CRM. So they already have it. So we were, let's say, if we had like a crystal ball, we say, yeah, there's a big risk in disappearing. So we need to have a stronger relation with them. So okay, yes, and this one is just to name some of the biggest companies that you can leverage on. And okay, this is just for you. Of course, you have seen, you know all of them. So you can either partner with them because they have a lot of partnership with smaller companies, startup programs or SME programs. Why? Because this is, let's say, this is an entry point to why not getting acquired by them, right? Because they know you, they know how you work, they know that you provide value to a very small niche that they cannot enter, right? So this is, you can use their products and you can see like at the work there. And this leads to the next question. Because after that, I have realized that we as startups, we always have a strategy for fundraising, for example, but we don't have a clear strategy for doing an exit. This is something that I have found more in Latin America, where I'm from Mexico. But this is something that actually I would like you, or all of you that are entrepreneurs, to have you in the back of your mind, talk to your, I don't know, to your friends or something, I don't know who else. But what will be your exit strategy? You need to be ready for that. This is something that you need to think about, right? Because you can ask the question, is this going to be my first company? Or is this going to be my last company? And if it's your first company, then it means you will probably sell it or do an M&A with some other, and then start another one, and then start another one. So this is something that I would like all of you to start thinking about it. Because, I mean, there are limited possibilities, right? So I would like to ask another question for you, that if anyone have already thought about it, about an exit strategy. Yes, can you tell us a little bit of what is an exit strategy that you have already think about it, already planned?
Well, like, we have an exit strategy. I have not yet because we're building it. So in the process of building it, I'd like building a successful business plan for it as well. Because, you know, like in companies, as you said, it first to be planned very well. Due to the execution to be easier to be to ensure that the company is good. And the company is because the company can be like exit. Now we have not developed yet an exit strategy, but we're sure like I hear about it and we've been talked about it because I don't know, I'm gonna mention something as like first it needs on the first figure that a company needs is that it needs to be on recurring revenue. Because it's totally different to have 10 million year revenue, and then starting from scratch to the next year, instead of having a recurring revenue. And so it makes you think of which services you provide and how you engage your customer to give you that revenue. And then that also exit strategy makes your company worth at least 5 times. Just in 10 million and the same 10 million of revenues, but recurring. But yeah, I don't have it yet at exit strategy for that. But it's great call.
In our case, I work in telecommunications and IT. So we launched a product that was geared specifically to healthcare. And it was a device that the sensors were attached to extensive medical equipment. And when we put it together, we tested it, it worked very well. But we had to find and execute our exit strategy because out of the blue, we did our market research and our competitive analysis. And when we realized that we did it, that there was only 2 competitors in the market. And all of a sudden, a small startup was purchased or merged for one of the bigger players, and they already had a strong niche in healthcare. So it was an uphill battle for us to get money. Exactly. So we decided to right. So we decided to execute our exit strategy. For those clients that we actually enrolled, we gave hard product for free for the remainder of the contract because we knew that eventually they will go traffic that we couldn't still be. And I worked at a very large telco. So, and for us to be able to explain that back to our superiors, and we said, hey, you know, someone else got there before we did. So, right. So it happens at all scales, happens everywhere. So your suggestion is really on point. Thank you for taking that up. The exit strategy is key.
Yes, it's really key. And actually, thank you. I just wanted to point something that, yeah, I agree with you that about that recurring revenue, but actually it leads to that for business. Okay, yeah. I mean, yes, and I partially agree, yes, but I will say it's not the only one.
Oh no, it's just one.
Exactly,
Yeah,
because this is something that whenever and recently, and like for example, you know, last week it was Tech Week, and there were a lot of VC companies and all that. I started asking them, okay, what do you think about the exit strategy of the companies you are investing, and so on. And they were thinking like, okay, you need to have a recurring revenue. This is the main, let's say, concern companies have. But I will say yes, but it's not the only one. Why? And I am telling you because this is something that we went through because we were very small. We weren't having like selling millions of dollars, but actually you can leverage of other things that are more important. Why? Because sometimes the company that is acquiring you is interested in other things other than revenue, because they already have recurring revenue. They already have, I don't know, like other things that are there. But actually, the last slide, but I just want to stop here because it's only look for your Rembrandt in that basement. Why? I don't know if you have, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, actually. Why? This is I heard about it in a podcast actually. Why? Because there are some things and some value in your company that you are really used to that you are not seeing. This is a story about an old house that they are like an old couple. They wanted to sell the house and they had a Rembrandt in the basement, and for them it was like, oh, it's just like an ugly painting. I don't know what it is. And when the buyer was looking for, I'm not sure if this is true story, but I heard in a podcast. But it really appealed to me because when the buyer was looking for the house, yeah, you know, the kitchen, the living room, whatever, they went to the basement and they saw it and they knew what was that painting, right? So, for example, if the house was 5 million, suddenly, of course, with that, the house, their true value was 10 million, right? And they were not aware of that because they were really used to seeing them every day.
Exactly.
And this is something that we were lucky enough to recognize it in Sirenna, because even though we were just 3 people, we recognized that, for example, they were only in Colombia, and I was based in Mexico. So for Colombian companies, if they want to expand their, let's say, their true nature is to go to Mexico. So they could already have like one Mexican person having a network there. So for example, for me, I'm in Mexico, this is something that I was born, so it was really, let's say, something that I was forgetting, right? But this is something that we were negotiating about. Like, hey, you will have like a Mexican in your team, right? You will have an AI developers, which AI is like you won't waste your time hiring or looking for someone building this technology. We already have a network. We already knew some other people that could help them. Even, I will tell you, we, as a small startup, we had a lot of AWS and Microsoft credits. You know, like we were having all of these that at the end of the day, they were presenting money for the company, right? We already have some processes. We already have a growth strategy. This is something we did really well. So it was already like a machine of scalable revenue in place because we were a product-led company, right? So these are the Rembrandts that we already have. And even though we call this a bigger company, there was other things that it can leverage on to sell into other than just revenue, right? And also, for example, another thing, it was the culture. Because as we were just three, we were like younger people, it was like, hey, you will speed up the processes that you already have. You know, and this is something you can, that you need to see your value other than just revenue, right? So yes, I mean, I totally agree. And some others, another thing that I have acknowledged is when you start talking to other people, they see like, oh, like selling and buying companies, like, oh, it's so difficult. Yes, of course, there is a very complex legal process, but this is why you have lawyers, right? Of course, you need to read it. Of course, you need to, of course, know everything. But this is, they will help us. I mean, if you are trusting the company you are working with, they will help with all of these difficult, I don't know, like names that you don't understand, right? So you can, it's like buying a house. I mean, it's not buying a Diet Coke in the Publix there, of course not. But it's not that complex if you see it in that way, right? So I will really encourage all of you that to start thinking on your exit strategy. Yes, of course.
Sure. Just a quick comment, and I'll start raise his hand too. I think all of us, most of us who work in technology, are in the business of talent, right? Trying to find the right talent. It's sometimes it's going places like Mexico, going places like Colombia. And being able to have an open collaboration included, and we all understand the nearshore concept, and that's why we're here. And that's it's important for us to remember that there's access to great talent at a much more affordable rate, and also being able to execute and scale. And once you scale and read what you're saying, being able to apply that particular strategy and focus to your market or niche. So it is important to always keep in mind that the partnership that you described between your company and the other company as well is really showing off with great results just because of that, being able to collaborate. And it didn't matter whether it was Mexico or Colombia. Eventually, you guys are we're a team together, and you're going forward. So I just wanted to share that because that's what resonates of what you're saying.
Yeah,
story.
Exactly. And you are, because you are so used to that you don't see it as a valuable like a asset, right? But it is totally. So yes, I would just like to close with that question to have you on the back of your mind. That if you already have a exit strategy or start thinking about one, that would be something that will help you. And because if you have the opportunity and you are not ready, you can listen, or you will not be able to negotiate the way that it should be. Yes?
But I have two questions.
Of course.
Starting one is first, how long does it take you? The whole process when you set your company. And the second that is very good with that is what thing did you think you faced with this best move?
Oh, okay. It took us around 6 months. I will say 6 to 8 months. It was long from the very beginning. Let's say from the Microsoft Copilot announcement. And when we first, let's say, were flirting with the idea, but then at the beginning was like a merge of just products. Why don't we create a product together, right? And just to see, just to, okay, let's see what they think. And so yes, I would say 6 to 8 months. Yeah, really complex process in terms of lawyers, but I mean, this is why you have lawyers. And what have we failed? And I will say that something that people does not talk about on exits is that it depends on the terms. They are all kind of terms. But for example, I think the culture is really important, the culture of both companies. And at the beginning, it was difficult for us to adapt to their culture, to our culture, because we were only 3. For example, I don't know, like we were talking on a WhatsApp group the whole day. We were also like really friends, and so everything was so fast. And then you get acquired like a company of, at that time the group was around 40 people, I think. So things were moving really slower, and I don't know, like what, for example, we were, let's say, suggesting, because they were like a phone call, video call of 3 hours, and everyone was sharing their thoughts. All of the departments, they were like, why 3 hours? This is a really expensive video call. Just see like the salary of every one of us that is here. This is so expensive, and we were like so crazy because for us it was a lot. And we were like, no, this is not gonna work. I mean, 2 hours sitting on a video call and with camera on, like it's impossible. No, we don't want this. So it was kind of difficult also in terms. I mean, these little things, and I think what we have failed is that all of these like small day-to-day things on how you work, what you like. I will tell you about another personal example. I like to wake up early, but then go to the gym or to work out, and then start to work, right? But for example, I was starting having video calls at my 8 a.m. while I was used to be working out, for example, just one small example. They were like, no, I would prefer to have it like later because it's my morning time, right? So this day-to-day is small that we weren't negotiating, like, okay, we like to work like this is what's best for us to be more productive, what is best for you to be more productive. So at the beginning it was difficult in these small little details that at the end of the day it makes your day, because if you have clear what works best for you and your team, you need to ask. And this is personal as a CEO that I wasn't communicating well how to ask for my team. You know? Yes.
Well, first of all, my name is Mari Padrin. Nice to meet you all. First time I'm in this co-working space, and I am the founder of Latinas Power. We have already impacted 1 million Latinas in the United States to be very successful. So I couldn't have my way to come here because to you. I don't know if you know this, but she is the only Latin American in the Forbes magazine that has been a co-founder acquired by an American company. Am I right?
No, it was that first AI acquisition in Latin America. Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you know this.
It was the first AI acquisition.
So I couldn't make myself to come here because that is amazing.
Thank you.
So you are Latinas Power. What I want to be like when I grow up.
No.
So what I'm hearing and what I'm very interested in is I want to scale Latinas Power. And I feel that we already impacted 1 million Latinas in the United States, but now in order to be worldwide and to also be global minority, so we have a playbook for not only for Latinas, but any other global minority, Asian, Asian, like anybody who feels like it's a smaller group in the American culture and worldwide can get benefit of the playbook of Latinas Power. So when I think of scaling, I think of AI, and I heard you like AI, that's where it's at. And I also hear you as a leader, you have been very innovative in the way with 3 people. That's amazing. So what I would like to know is, number one, you talk about exit strategy, which I have never even thought of. And I have been in business for almost 20 years. When you think of exit strategy, you are relatively young. Who thought about the exits? What was about the exits? And at what point in the business did you say, oh, we need to pick a list? And what was your thinking process in order for you to be bought, which is remarkable?
Yeah, thank you. And I will say that breaking point, it was when Microsoft launched Copilot. To be very honest with you, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, like a feature for Microsoft is our whole company, right? So I started like reading, investigating, and looking more for that. And I was like, yeah, it will take just months for the others to launch it, right? And I was like, no, we need to speed up. It was so stressful for me because I really wanted, let's say, to push the deal, but of course you're not going to sell for nothing,
Right.
you know? And they knew it. They knew that all of these other technologies were coming. So it's like my picking process, it was, okay, how, of course they knew that we wanted to sell, but what, I was looking for what do they, what they don't have, for example. What are they lacking that we are really like we were stronger? It was, for example, also we were multicultural team. I already lived in France before. Juan Sebastian, my CTO, he lived in London, so we were speaking 3-4 languages. The team were only speaking Spanish, for example, so it was a need. It's like you need to speak English at least, right? So it's like you can expand your market not only in Mexico, but what if in the US? We have this. We know these people that we can help us leverage. So it was, okay, what are they lacking that we are stronger than them? At the end of the day, it's a negotiation. So how can you bring the most of the value? I will say, rather than just the software. I mean, the software, they could buy it. I don't know if you know that I think it's a startup actually, acquire.com. That it's really fun. I like to just navigate that if you were like an apartment style, whatever, like buying company. But if you can go acquire.com, you can sell right, but it's a marketplace for tech startups. So of course, if you go, there will be a chatbot doing what we were doing, but they just sell you like a product, like, hey, here you go, you know. But they could just buy a software, right? And I'm sure that some of the softwares at acquire.com were having more revenue than us, right? But they were not in Mexico, they were not speaking multiple languages, they were not knowing people, they were not have a team, they were not willing to work really hard and be this household kind of people. So this is something this is the Rembrandt that we had.
Right. Now, another question, now we'll let everybody else. Who was in charge of putting this forward to be bought?
I was.
You were. Okay. So
I lost a lot of my hair. My dad knows it. I went to the dermatologist because I'm losing hair. I'm so stressed. True story.
Right. So that brings me to another point, which is in a men's world. I am the founder of Men's Power, and it's all about helping the world understand. There's what so many men here, right? How many women?
Please.
One very successful, powerful, I think you should meet her. And then that's it, right?
Like 6.
So how many?
But
So in the world that this is the world, right? This is the world right here.
Yes.
So men have these talents, they have the technology, they're the CTOs, they're the engineers. Or women, we are the business developers, we are good with sales, we see patterns, we have intuition, we have these other skills. So why would you recommend these men, most men who actually have the power of the money and the investment, to look for when they need partners where women have talents who actually help with revenue? Because you were the one who ended up. Well, she is. So what would you say that is?
I think we really have a sixth sense. I am sure about it. So, like, we have the ability to be very present, let's say. So, because I remember, I just remember when we were having this video calls with them, and I was like so focused on what are they wanting. I mean, like, so, like, let's say reading between the lines. And I think women, we have this ability to read between the lines. And let's say and to be flexible. Because in my point of view, what I remember is like they already had like a goal, like, but this is really good, of course, because you have clarity. But sometimes you are not that present to know what are they, to read between the lines. What are they really looking for? And this is when I discovered that they really wanted a team to expand. So then I put all the power of the team. So I would say that when you are hiring, this is really powerful when you hire a woman or partner with a woman, because we have like, this is like a natural ability. I have these two friends who are married and co-founders, actually. So Camila, sorry, but she does. But she has this power because she can be really present and have this empathy for all the other people, and probably you're not that it's more, let's say, like closing deals and let's go and it's natural, it's biological, right? This is our at the end of the day, biology is first. So I would say that I would really recommend that for New York because of that.
Similar question along where you were going is, should profitability be your first exit strategy? Right? Sometimes when you find a Rembrandt in your basement, that's an opportunity not to sell, but to maybe get additional funding to build a bigger company. Right? So, for example, Apple bought Beats to kill it because they wanted to sell other wearables, right? So sometimes selling your company is effectively like with that company. In your case, you saw the writing on the wall. You knew you needed to move. But for someone else, it might be, if I find a Rembrandt, I'm actually going to raise, and build a bigger company.
Yes, totally. Of course, and this is a good strategy also when you are expanding to other markets. For example, I started suggesting to people to start growing in Mexico, like acquiring the small telco companies, right? Because they already have, or you can hire like 100 people around the country or Mexico to sell. But if you start acquiring the small telco companies, for example, they already have the customers, you are not going to Merida or to some other pueblitos, because they are already there. So, of course, totally. Yes, that I agree totally with you. I know if you have another questions or something you want to add, Well, thank you. Thank you very much.